you might like to tune me out instead and read this, just let me know. I'll hook you up. That's different. Hey, pay your money, come see me, but I don't even expect you to listen to me. That's my mom, me, cutie, hey? When I was preparing for this talk, something dawned on me. From as far back as I can remember, my mom taught me about this core value, the harmony of difference. And she taught me how to find it too. She did this because I am different. I need all of this up here to be up here in front of you. This one's called lemon meringue pie. I have my office chair with me, my rug, so I can feel my toes, something soft on my toes. I can't predict how fast I'm going to talk because I don't experience time like you. That's different too. I'm going to read this to you because even though they say not to, because I can't even remember while I'm washing my hair or while I'm in the shower if I washed my hair. So why would I try harder to memorize this when I already know my brain won't let me? You can watch it in slow-mo later. I no longer need to be the same for the benefit of the majority. That's different. I was a happy baby, well, mostly. I was colicky, allergic to my baby formula. I had to drink goat's milk for the first part of my life. That was sure different. And when I look at these pictures, I can see the connection my mom had with me. I can see the investment she put into appreciating my differences. This is just how she saw me. That was different. And look at this little hockey player here with her Guido. I was always a tomboy, as they called me. I think the more accurate word to describe it is gender nonconforming. I am a nonconformist. That's different about me. I get tense just looking at this one. I'd like to know who thought it was a good idea to have 20 kids hopped up on sugar, running around with little mini blowhorns at every birthday party. And check this one out. I found these as I was going through my old photos, my baby prints. And my mom wrote on there, no, this foot isn't shorter. Crystal just likes to curl her toes. I still do this today to the point where I get excruciatingly painful cramps in my feet, and I get tension in my face and my jaw. My teeth are all visibly cracked. I learned that my continuous discomfort has everything to do with the lack of acceptance for my nervous system and how my brain works. That's different. Those shoes, $200 in the 70s. Okay, I wouldn't walk in regular shoes, only my bare feet, so my mom had to buy them for me. And I cried because my little sister could balance on one foot long before I ever could. That's different. I had emotions just like other kids and a fun personality when I was in my element. It was when I started to go to school that people started realizing I don't listen, hear, pay attention, or learn the same as other kids. And they labeled me as hearing impaired and gifted. Turns out I just have auditory processing differences, and I am an autistic thinker, just that. I could hear just fine by age 12, as soon as my brain figured out how to push the button when I heard the sound. I remember nursing those little baby kittens, keeping them warm. They were born on a rainy, cold night, and we had to keep them alive. I always had an uncanny connection with nature and animals, all sorts of wildlife, from birds to rabbits, and even the big ones like deer and elk. They lock eyes with me. And it's like time stands still as we stay there, appreciating each other's safety. I think that was different too. And this was just the first 5 years of my life. I think I was 5. The first time I was beat up, bloody nose and all, for being different. I insisted my buddies should not swear in my yard because those were the rules that were set. And I was so confused why they would do this to me. That's why I was crying. And for the record, this is my little sister who could balance on one foot and who always looked out for me throughout my life. People don't put their hands on me anymore. What they do is they just verbally assault me, attack my character, sabotage my work, fire me, try to exert power over me, bully me instead. This has been my story since I was 5, and my story is not unique. Because of the way they think, the way they talk, the way they move, the way they see, smell, and hear, even because of how smart they are. Almost every human in the neurological minority has experienced this repeatedly across their lifetime, simply because of how their brains experience the world. Discriminated, stereotyped, blamed, excluded, segregated, isolated, and dehumanized. People don't react well to difference. Period. I learned to shrink and mask my authentic being to avoid being hurt. And this led to a cycle of severe burnout, suicide ideation, addictions, permanent nervous system challenges, and my body is falling apart. Supports and treatment for people like me is not what you think it is. It's mostly about unlearning in my head the voice of society, undoing the internalized ableism, and healing from these traumas. In my recovery, I learned to better understand why other people would treat me like this and why they would react the way they do to my differences, so I could protect my safety. It became my special interest to do lots and lots of research across multiple fields of study and talk to a lot of different people just to find these answers. And I remember the day I chose me and why I do what I do now. My mission became to uncover the real problem, because I knew very well it wasn't me. My community is on a trajectory to die early, up to 16 years earlier, in fact. About 45% of the people who are in the neurological minority, they meet the diagnostic criteria for PTSD. That's 45% compared to only 5% of people who aren't in the minority. Sit with that for a moment. How many generations are we going to allow this to go on for? I am convinced we can stop harming at least 25% of the population. What is at the root of our problem for us to solve? We are human. We reject difference and want sameness. We fear the unknown and what we don't understand. We mold to the cultural norms around us. We desire conformity, compliance. We compare differences, better than, less than. We need to be validated and feel superior. We cling to black or white comparisons and rigid categories. And we instinctually stick to what feels safe and familiar. We need stability, predictability. We resist change. We preserve our agency and our advantages. We prefer the status quo. We have unconscious defense mechanisms. We are motivated by power, authority, and influence. We want to be in the in-group, and we have unresolved trauma. And the list, it continues for any number of very human reasons that have nothing to do with me being born me being neurologically different. These things shape our attitudes towards differences, and we behave predictably like humans. And the bigger problem is, we aren't even consciously aware of this. Our fears, our biases, our egos, if we address just these things, being inclusive of other neurologies could easily become a reality. I've always known you can't have inclusion without psychological safety. But what is there to bridge that gap? It's simple. Find harmony within differences. Find a good balance and connection between things that are broadly diverse and different. Value and integrate these differences to make our society work well together. We will all thrive. I found my harmony of difference with little support from the outside world. Sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me. My mom taught me that. At 5 years old, I learned that other people's behaviors were their own responsibility. That is why I could feel the hurt of their words and not internalize them as my own. I knew I was good enough. Psychologists will tell you that's kind of different. But I was so frustrated, so hurt, so confused that other people couldn't see it. I learned that if I stopped trying to listen to the teacher talk and just read the content instead, I experienced a lot less stress migraines in school. My success, my health, my happiness were far greater when I just did things my way. You need to understand the rules to break the rules. I don't follow rules. I uphold principles and I meet outcomes in my decision making. Normative rules do not make any sense to me. This compass has not steered me wrong. I learned that trying to be you was really hard, and being me was going to be really, really hard too. I chose the path that would give me peace in my heart and the people I choose to have around me. We can talk about difference and our uniqueness. We appreciate and respect each other's differences. We intentionally create ways for all our differences to shine and for us to all feel like we belong. We are a collective competency. We all have the freedom to decide for ourselves how we will contribute, and we develop our plans around that. We don't tell people how they should be or how they should engage. We ask them how they want to engage, and we work towards progress together. That is what the harmony of difference looks and feels like for us. And if you don't believe me, that's okay. And if you're at all questioning that the harmony of difference works, just take a look at these videos. Jim Hogan, G. Sabini Roberts, Dave Thompson, all the evidence you need to embrace this idea is already there. So, how did this consortium of humans find the harmony of difference? Easy. We intentionally looked for it. We focused our attention on creating harmony when we experienced our differences. Because when humans intentionally shift their mindset, we create new pathways in our brain that reinforce positive attitudes and behaviors towards differences. And if we do this often enough, it will become natural for us. Focusing on harmony and taking the time to appreciate differences activates regions in our brain that are associated with empathy, helping us better understand and relate to other people's perspectives and experiences. It decreases activity in the brain regions linked to fear and prejudice. Imagine that. We can reduce discrimination just by being intentional about looking for harmony when we recognize difference. I keep saying this is simple and this is easy, but if you haven't practiced this before, I'm sure it could seem like it isn't as easy as it sounds. So here's 10 new ideas that you can start embracing today to help you find your harmony. 1, accept that diverse perspectives and experiences are complex, and there will be ambiguity. Multiple viewpoints can be true at the same time, and there won't always be an easy, clear-cut solution. 2, create safe spaces for open and authentic dialogue and expression. People need to feel empowered to share without fear of harm. 3, empower people to advocate for themselves and participate actively in decisions that affect their lives. Listen to them talk for themselves and learn to manage your listening filters. When you engage with people from diverse backgrounds, listen without judgment, listen without defensiveness. All of us could use a little bit of skill building in this area. It's called two-sided perspective taking. So be curious and commit yourself to never stop learning. Differences are an opportunity to broaden your understanding and your intelligence. Bust your biases, okay? Ironically, autistic people are less susceptible to developing biases simply because of the way our brains process information. And we can see clearly when your biases are present. If we're going to genuinely appreciate differences, we all need to examine our normative privileges. We need a collective conscious awareness about this. Stay flexible and adaptable in the face of change. This enables us to adjust our thinking and behavior in response to new circumstances. This alone will help you reduce stress and solve problems better. Be humble and be willing to learn from others. Me, being neurologically different is a cultural difference between us. And learning cultural humility can be messy, and it is an ongoing journey for all of us. Celebrate both the similarities and the differences. These all enrich our communities and contribute to a more vibrant human world. Respect the dignity of every human being, and focus on our common goals, values, and interests to build these bridges between us and our differences, and do it together. Find harmony within difference together. This is how we navigate the middle road. Humanity will be okay once we all start doing this. So, the next time you find yourself focused on trying to maintain sameness, think about what I told you. Shift your mindset and start looking for the harmony of difference. Be you and be curious.